Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Izola here with FlickDirect, and I have a new Blu-ray review for you, and it is for the movie Black Bag. So grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and let's get this started. Okay, so apparently there is a leak in England's SIS, which is probably kind of like MI6, for all of the spy movies that we like to watch. And George Woodhouse, who's played by Michael Fassbender, has 1 week to figure out who the mole is. So Black Bag kind of starts off like your typical spy movie where two people meet up, very shady circumstances. They exchange intel, usually it's cryptic, you don't know what's happening, cloak and dagger type of thing. But then, quickly for this movie, things shake up. Blackback leads into a lot of general genre tropes, but it also flips the script, so to speak. So it's not just a typical spy versus spy kind of movie. It actually has a little bit more of a modern feel, which definitely works since it's set in more modern times. You can tell that this movie was clearly written, directed, surrounded by people who truly love espionage stories for sure. So after Woodhouse is told this, we're at this, I don't know, it just felt very uncomfortable, but a dinner party where you have other agency members. We'll just say they're two couples. And one couple is just in this clearly messy, toxic, just not great relationship. I mean, you can just really sense it on the screen. But then you have the agency shrink, and then you also have this up and coming rising star to the agency. It's they're spies. So apparently this one's really good at it. Now, after the night, we kind of follow each couple, watch their every move, but in all reality, it kind of shows you how isolating the spy life can really be. I mean, but let's not also forget it's dangerous. Okay, so in this movie, this kind of shows that it's not a very easy job, and I don't wish that type of life on anybody, but apparently the world feels like they need spies. So, not really wrong, but I'm just saying it's not a job that I would want just because who do you trust? So, now on to what inquiring minds want to know. Who's the mole? I mean, it could be anybody, including Woodhouse's wife, who is actually played by the amazing Cate Blanchett. I love her, anything she's in, even though I did watch Borderlands and I did not like it. She did a good job. Like I thought she was fun and sarcastic and dry sense of humor and it worked, but just shouldn't have been a Borderlands movie. They should have just done something different. But I digress. And they do a really good job of making you believe that it could be someone, but then you think it's someone else. And honestly, you immediately think you may know who it is, but then, it turns out that they're poisoned and it looks like a heart attack. When in reality, it's not, of course, because they were poisoned. So, lots of twists and turns, a lot of intrigue. It's just very interesting to watch. And, you really feel like you're watching spies kind of duke it out, so to speak, but in a very professional, not sure how it's going to go down kind of way. The twists come fast and often. And the funny thing is that the real story isn't the nuclear plot or the Russians. It's actually about the people behind the scenes, and that's a really interesting take, at least in my opinion, because you always think when you see these spy movies, you're thinking like James Bond, but not spy versus spy kind of thing. So it was just really kind of fun to watch that you're actually watching what's happening behind the scenes and not actually what is front and center. Obviously, the cast is great and the writing is really smart. It's really refreshing to kind of see a thriller driven movie over dialogue, over explosions. So, Mission Impossible kind of thing. You know, everything is explosions everywhere. So, it's just kind of nice to see that other side versus just having all of the super action right in your face. Now, having said that, because I know I've kind of, boosted this a lot, it did kind of miss the mark in a lot of places. It almost felt too perfectly plotted or engineered, so to speak. So I think that it just kind of felt a little forced in some places where I think if they didn't try so hard, that wouldn't have been as noticeable. I think it tries to be a little too clever, so the plot struggles just a little bit. Overall, I enjoyed this movie. I liked the ending. I just liked the overall fun of it. Just old school spy movie with a modern flair. And like I said, although the plot did kind of miss a little bit, acting, costumes, sets, sound, everything, like it really boosted it all. And it's not a horrible plot. So it's really not super noticeable, those things, but still, all those things can't make up for those missed plot pieces. Because of all this, I give the movie Black Bag a 3 out of 5. And now on to the video. The visuals of Black Bag are really fun. It's a great movie to watch visually. And I actually found out that Steven Soderbergh actually went under a different name, which was really interesting in order to be the cinematographer because apparently there was something with the Writers Guild. I assume that you can't do multiple jobs or they just don't want your name on everything. I did not look into it more deeply than he just had a pen name for cinematography. And this is not the first time he's done it. So if you ever see the name Peter Andrews, just know that that is Steven Soderbergh, and he actually used his dad's first and middle name in order to come up with it. So I just thought that that was very interesting, and who doesn't want a little bit extra tidbit of knowledge for film industry stuff? Okay, but back to the review. So Black Bag just is this stylish throwback and really just a cool watch, which I know doesn't really explain it that well, but it really is just kind of a throwback, would be the best way to describe it. For example, there is a scene early in dinner where the lighting is just this, it has a soft, glowy kind of feel and just makes everything kind of feel like it was representative of the 60s. And it just had this really fun vibe to it. And I really liked the way that it looked. You'll see kind of that vibe with the costumes and the settings as well. It almost, I would say it also has this like noir kind of feel as well. And that just kind of gives that extra oomph to the spy feel. It's sleek, it's shadowy, which obviously you need for those particular scenes where things are, you know, cryptically going down. So it worked tremendously with the way that they shot those scenes. There's subtle visual details that just either make certain scenes stand out vibrantly or also just kind of contrast the way that they really need to. And that is always going to depend on if they're bright shoots like outside or, in dark alleyways, things like that. You guys have seen these before where, they'll do dark scenes and you can't see anything. But the balance in this movie, they do a really good job at making sure that you can still see contrasting darker colors, even if you're in the shadows. Again, for the visuals of Black Bag, it's giving you this feel of a noir spy movie, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. And, there were a couple scenes where I'm just like, we could have probably shot that a little different, but overall, just really beautifully done. You are going to be very happy with the visuals in this movie and also how the Blu-ray just kind of upped it. So you're really going to get that theater experience when you are watching this on your television. Lights off, of course. I always recommend that. And because of this, I'm going to give the visuals a 4.5 out of 5. And now on to audio. The sound in Black Bag is just as sharp as it looks with a Dolby TrueHD 5.1 surround mix that just really pulls you in. And I was really happy with the overall sound. It worked. The TrueHD was just crisp and clear right from that opening shot, following Fassbender into a really packed and loud club. You can just tell that the sound design is perfect, top notch. They did not pull out, well, would you say they pulled out all the stops to make sure that you're getting the best sound quality? The mix is just so immersive. You're going to get really crisp dialogue. You're getting layered ambient sounds. And you know how I am with surround sounds and the ambient sounds because it just adds that extra layer in the movie to just make you feel like you were in that scene. And with this movie, that's extremely important because it's not like Mission Impossible or any of those other big spy type movies out there, James Bond. There aren't explosions and constant gunfire and, cars blowing up. I mean, you name it. It's helicopters flying overhead constantly. It's not that kind of movie. So when you're thinking about the sounds, you have to rely on ambient and surround sounds, and they do a really good job with that. And like I said, all of those additional tiny little sounds that maybe you normally wouldn't pay attention to are a little more heightened, which tend to make you feel uncomfortable, especially in those really tense scenes. And if you haven't seen the movie, watch it. You will definitely understand what I mean when I say tense scenes, because again, if you're not having like a Michael Bay kind of movie, you have to do psychological stuff with it. Overall, the audio quality checks every single box that you would have for what you expect for a good watch. So I really don't think you are going to be disappointed at all in any of the sound that you're getting while you're watching this movie. Nothing is over the top, and like I said, even though you're not getting those high action explosive scenes, the overall quality of the sound just immerses you into the scenes. And like I said, you'll definitely feel even hair standing up on the back of your neck because of these particular scenes. So they really did a great job with that. And because of this, I'm giving the audio a 5 out of 5. And now on to the extras. And honestly, this one was pretty darn disappointing. I get it that this is not like a super action-packed movie, so you're not going to have, ooh, how did they film this scene? How did they do that? What's going on here? Where did they come up with this? Or, something to that effect. But with just the cast alone, you would expect there to at least be, a gag reel. Sorry. I expect things when I purchase a Blu-ray and especially a 4K like Steelbook. This is a Blu-ray, so maybe if they do something else in the future, we might get something a little more, but I don't know if this is really going to be one of those Steelbook releases. I think the Blu-ray is just going to be about it. So I really think they missed the mark on the extras. I mean, honestly, you get a couple deleted scenes and a couple of featurettes, and that's it. I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more. I was very disappointed, and especially just after rewatching Captain America: Brave New World, which you can watch that video as well. Even that one gave us a little more, and that one did not give us enough. So again, there's really not much that I can give you on this, so I'm not really going to waste your time. I'm giving the extras a 1.5 out of 5. Black Bag is a really clever movie that was written by people, acted, directed, filmed, whatever, by people who just love the spy genre and know how to play with its tropes. They did a really good job at making it fun, interesting, tense, intriguing. I mean, they just checked off a lot of boxes. It is packed with sharp direction and strong performances, plenty of twists and turns, lots of misdirection. You know, like I said, you think you know who did it in the first 5 minutes of certain scenes, and then all of a sudden, boop, they're gone. You know, so don't always believe what you're seeing. They did a definite good job on misdirecting for sure. But again, having said that, I feel like the movie was a little hollow and they focused more on being too clever than really being super meaningful. And again, it's not horrible. I just wish that they didn't try so hard in the clever department. Having said that, you have great visuals, amazing audio. And again, the audio is usually what really sells it for you because if you hear something that you just weren't expecting, it just really sells it a lot more and really makes you feel like you are in that scene. So, again, excellent job to that. I think the only thing that truly, truly disappointed me with this release was the extras. That's it. I mean, it's really funny how one piece, so 1 out of 4, can kind of just really dump your review, right? And yeah, maybe I put too much focus on that, but I feel like if I'm giving you my money for something to own and enjoy throughout the years, I would just like a little extra because you're already giving me extras. So just give me extra extras. That's all. That's all I ask. But honestly, if you asked me, would I buy it again knowing that the extras are not up to my expectations? I would say absolutely because I'm definitely going to watch this movie again because I know that there are some things that I may have missed. You know, sometimes I look down on my phone, miss things, but you know, things kind of spring up and you really have to pay attention to these movies. And I also love spy movies. I love them so much, and this is kind of a modern take. So you're still getting that kind of noirish feel. I also love the 60s vibe. It's just, you know, I'm glad that, you know, they kind of sprinkle that in just to kind of give it that feel too. So I really think that if you are like me and you enjoy genres like this, spy movies, not James Bond type of movies, but just more spy versus spy kind of thing, I really think that you will want to have this in your library. It's fun, it's going to keep you entertained. You can watch it more than once. And again, I, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with it except for the extras. And if you're not one that really watches them, then you know what? You're going to give this a much higher review than I am. And really, the overall is a 3.5 out of 5. And I don't think that that's bad. I think a solid B for a Blu-ray release is not bad at all. I think that sometimes we can expect too much, but if the movie is solid, audio, visuals, spot on, we can overlook the extras, even though we still want more, and enjoy a good release for Blu-ray. Now, the release date for Black Bag is May 13th, and that is tomorrow. So you can go online right now and order yourself a copy. I'm sure you can get it right away and, you know, watch it when it's released. And with that, this concludes my review of the Blu-ray for Black Bag. Please be sure to like and subscribe to all of our channels so you never miss out on any entertainment news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!